What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. I am super excited today to bring you some awesome news in the world of big bore revolvers. Biggest bore revolvers. But first, let me get one thing out of the way. So we have to get this out of the way right now. This is not an advertisement. This is not a paid promotion. I am bringing you news. I got information of this through the internet, and you guys can get the same information if you look. I can't link to any specific websites or anything like that, but everything I'm about to talk to you about is real, it's cool, it's news. But this is not paid content. I'm not sponsored by anybody. So when we think of big bore revolvers, we can go straight to the top. 460 Magnum, 500 Magnum. This is what most people think of when they think of the biggest bore revolvers. But what if I told you that we're going even bigger than 500 Magnum today? And yes, I did say we're going bigger than a 500 Magnum. Let's take a look at these cartridges right here just for comparison. So thank you, Elmer Keith, for the 44 Magnum right here. Thank you, Dick Casul, for the 454 Casul right here. Then the 460 Magnum, which was a combination between Smith and Wesson and Hornady. And then here's the 500 Magnum, which was a combination of Smith and Wesson and Corbon. So the 500 Magnum's a little bit shorter and fatter than the 460. The 500 Magnum is known to be the most powerful handgun cartridge, as with the 460 is known to be the fastest handgun cartridge. Now you can take it right to the top of the 500 game with these 700 grain Underwood ammunition. I call them big red lipsticks for the 500 Magnum. This is about the biggest pill that you can find to push out of a 500 Magnum. It completely takes up the cylinder. I'll show you right here. And this is important to what we're about to talk about. So when you load one of these into a cylinder, you see how there's really no room left for anything? Just keep that in mind. And just for a real quick comparison of what these cartridges do, let's fire them off really quick. So let's start right off the rip with a pretty good 44. It's the Federal Premium Hammer Down 270 grain. This is made for basically a lever gun, so it really rocks this short, I think it's 2.5-inch barrel combat Magnum. Pretty stout. Let's kick it up to the 454 Casul out of the Smith and Wesson 460 Magnum. Stouter. Now keep in mind the recoil out of that 454 Casul, because that's going to be important for something we're going to talk about later. But let's move up to the 460 Magnum, which is what this gun was actually built to shoot. I call these the mini missiles. That's why. Ouch. That's a good one. Smith and Wesson 500 Magnum with a Hornady FTX. That's a crusher. That's awesome. But wait for this one. All right, now we're going to kick it up to the Underwood lipstick. 700 grains of just straight lead. Flat nose, going to slam that target. I know to hold on to this one. Still could barely hold on. That's awesome. Now that you got all that in your mind, let's start talking about the next thing we got coming. So I've recently learned of a company named T2 Armory, and they're doing something completely awesome. They're making a cartridge called the 500 Bushwhacker. It's a completely new cartridge. It's a 50 caliber cartridge. We're talking like 500 Smith and Wesson Magnum type, but stretch that out a little bit to make the 500 Bushwhacker. This is now, according to them at least, the most powerful handgun cartridge in the world. You're taking a 500 Magnum and basically making it a double Magnum. It's the 500 Magnum Magnum. So as you can see, there's quite a difference between the 500 Magnum and the 500 Bushwhacker. A lot more room for powder, therefore more velocity, just more overall energy. So now a lot of you are asking, what is this going to be fired out of? Is this going to be a new firearm? Well, no, but it's going to be a new chambering. So a lot of you are familiar with the Magnum Research BFR. It's the big freaking revolver is what I call it. But these BFRs right here, they're chambered in a lot of different calibers. BFR actually stands for Big Frame Revolver, and one of the chamberings is Smith and Wesson 500 Magnum. Now here's the 500 Magnum that we shot outside. This is the size of this cylinder here. The BFRs have a bigger cylinder, and that's what T2 Armory is utilizing here for their conversion. So what they're doing is they're taking the 500 Magnum chambered BFRs and they're reaming out the cylinders to be able to accept the much larger 500 Bushwhacker cartridge. Then they put what is a mandatory muzzle brake on this firearm. They said, do not try to fire this revolver without it. You will destroy yourself. They do some tweaking of the front sight and set it into that muzzle brake, and now boom, you have a 500 Bushwhacker. Definitely much more power than you would get out of the 500 Magnum. And this thing is awesomely backwards compatible once they do this conversion. Just like the 357 Magnum can safely shoot a 38 Special, this gun can shoot 500 Bushwhacker, 500 Magnum, 500 JRH, 500 Special, the whole spread, and do it all well. Now I think this is super cool. They're taking the 500 Magnum and they're kicking it up a notch. More power. I don't see a downside. Some people might say that recoil might be something to deal with. However, the muzzle brake that they have on this thing, they say it actually, if you're comfortable with 454 Casull, you should be comfortable shooting the 500 Bushwhacker. Now T2 Armory does have a couple videos up. Two gentlemen by the names of James and Keith, they explain a lot. They do it better than I do, but you can find a lot of information if you seek it out. I can only give you the preview here. They can tell you the technical details. I can't link to any place, any website, anything like that, but you guys know how to do your homework. I can promise you guys, I promise you, I will be getting my hands on one of these as soon as possible. There's a waiting list for these right now, but I will try my best to bring this to you and show it to you. The ammunition is running about $100 per 20 rounds, which sounds kind of crazy, but it's really not when you consider that 500 Magnum ammunition at my local stores runs $85 a box easily for good hunting ammunition. So to put a little bit more brass in there with a very proprietary cartridge that's brand new that they had to have specially made basically, and then loaded up with more powder, yeah, I can understand a little bit of added cost. Not a problem with me. If you're willing to pay 500 Magnum ammo cost, this should be no problem. But I'm really looking forward to see what this cartridge will do, what it'll go through, how it reacts with steel. Just have fun with it. I want to feel the recoil. I want to see what the gun looks like. I don't currently own a BFR, but that's going to change. Now a couple interesting notes here, and I'm going to be reading off of a piece of paper. Out of the 10.5-inch barrel, with a 400 grain bullet, they're getting 2,315 feet per second. That's smoking. With a 520 grain bullet, 2,083 feet per second. With a 620 grain bullet, 1,890 feet per second, 95 feet per second. That's cooking right along. Now the 7.5-inch version only loses 50 feet per second velocity off of any of those numbers. Another really cool point is it doesn't have to be exactly a 500 Smith and Wesson chambered BFR. They can also convert, and I'm reading here, 30-30 Winchester, 444 Marlin, the 45/410s, the 460s, or the 500s. It has to be a 5-shot cylinder, but they can convert those all. Now, if you have something other than a 50 caliber, they're going to have to change out the barrel for you, or the barrel sleeve, and that's going to cost a little extra money. As far as ammunition availability, they do have ammunition for sale on their website. They do sell dies, they can convert your dies, and they do sell properly head stamp brass. That's awesome. And the 50 caliber bullets should be easily sourced. So let me know in the comments what you think. Is 500 Magnum good enough? Stop right there. Do you want to go bigger and better and better and higher than that? So I personally want to take it to the limit because that's just fun for me. You only live once. And in the meantime, if you're interested, do some research on this caliber and this company. Get ready for what they have coming out for you. I think it's really cool. I wish them all the luck, and I can't wait to get my hands on one to bring it out to you guys. Hope you liked this video, and until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.